Like you're watching News Break, so there seems to be a great point of concern as far as Project Cheetah is concerned. There are 8 cheetahs who have died in Kuno, and that has sparked huge concerns. Let's take a look at them one by one. Suraj on the 14th of July, Tejas on the 11th of July, 3 of the 4 cubs born to Jwala, that is 23rd to 25th, Daksha on the 9th of May, Uday on the 23rd of April, Sasha on the 27th of March. Remember, we had reported right here that all these cheetahs have died. Now, the latest that has happened, a lot of experts seem to be suggesting that this could have to do with a not so optimum radio collar. Could this be causing the death of the cheetahs? Now, some experts say, like Mr. Rajesh Gopal, they say that this is a state-of-the-art synthetic collar. Health check and inspections need to be done on the cheetahs. On the other hand, there are others, like Dr. Adrian Tordif. He's a veterinary wildlife specialist. He says video confirms that radio collars have actually infected the cheetahs. Radio collars were used in South Africa too. It never caused infection there. J.S. Chauhan, who is the chief conservator of forests in Madhya Pradesh, he says collars may be causing the infection due to monsoon. In high moisture, the cheetah may scratch the skin, which may get infected if a fly sits on it. The radio collar is not fatal, but may be contributing factor in these deaths. Vincent van der, he's the head of Cheetah Metropolitan Project, Population Project, beg your pardon. He says collars may cause dermatitis, myiasis, followed by septicaemia. Flying larvae may spread infection from the neck to the back. Septicaemia causes animal to die out of shock. Now, there are more than enough experts who seem to be suggesting that this could have to do with this synthetic collar, which has a radio tag so that you can know where a cheetah is going. Now, in Africa, where they have come from, they were wearing this synthetic tag. But as you can see in these pictures, right under that tag, at least for one cheetah, experts spotted maggots, and they were growing. It was a maggot infestation right under that collar. So is this synthetic collar in a monsoon season causing our cheetahs to die? And is this a major cause of concern? Are they killing our cheetahs? Now, officially, we do not have a response because officially, of course, there is a whole process before the government itself can arrive to this conclusion or agencies can arrive to this conclusion. But this is a subject matter of investigation, and since that is being investigated and looked into, this becomes an obvious question. Infection from radio collars and maggots, are they killing our cheetahs? Let's quickly deep dive into a discussion and try to understand from our guests how they perceive this, because if this is, if you've got a collar, and if many experts are now suggesting that this collar is the problem, it's causing, maggot formation, maggot infestation, then I think the first thing that should be done even before an investigation is that this should be removed and replaced, as a concern has been raised by many people. Kedar Gore, director of the Corbett Foundation, is with us. Ria Rosalind Ramji, wildlife activist and conservationist, is also with us. Dr. Ravi Chellam, CEO of Metastring Foundation and coordinator of Biodiversity Collaborative Bengaluru, is with us. And Dr. Arjun Gopalaswamy, founder and chief scientist and wildlife and statistical ecologist, is also with us. Thank you very much. Mr. Kedar Gore, I want to begin with you first. We'll come back to Mr. Gore in just a short moment. Ms. Ria Rosalind Ramji, how do you look at this problem? I mean, there are more than enough experts who seem to suggest that this could be a potential problem. This was a problem with the tigers as well. It was replaced, and a stitch in time saved 9. Do you feel that as the first step, at least the collars need to be replaced, and then we can continue on with our investigation whether the collar is the problem? Replace it.
I think honestly that is something for the veterinary community to deal with. There is already a special task force in place, as you're aware, after the Supreme Court has set up a committee for this. Secondly, when we come to the generalization of saying that 8 cheetahs have died, only one of the cheetahs has been found with these wounds. The cheetah, 3 of the cubs that died were due to dehydration. One of the females, I believe, died during a meeting incident. So we cannot look for a simplistic solution. If you go back to the root of it, first of all, these cheetahs are African and Namibian cheetahs. They're not Asiatic cheetahs. They are not used to this kind of environment. That's why they have been kept in a contained space, right? Radio collaring, the same radio collars have been used throughout India for a long period of time. Our vets are very au fait with this system. They have been using it. They would not have put such an important project at risk simply by using mediocre equipment. I don't think that would ever have happened. There are too many people watching.
No, Ms. Ramji, right? My question is this. Nobody is coming to this conclusion that this is a substandard collar or, something which should not be used or of poor quality. The point is that in India, perhaps its use may not be accurate, or maybe we can replace it with something that is more
like
suited
I said,
to
that is a call for the veterinarian committee to take, because there is a lot of other aspects as well. It's not just about the synthetic material and not the synthetic material.
Yeah.
And cheetahs themselves, they're not, if you look at all the 27 species of wild cats, they are actually the least tough. They're the least hardy, right? You could actually walk up to a cheetah sitting on a kill and walk away with it. They're that non-aggressive. So any other carnivore, as soon as they are released from that contained space, which I believe 3 of them were, they will get attacked. And in fact, the last cheetah that passed away, Suraj, he actually had some other bite marks on him as well. Correct. So you cannot say that if you take the collars away, they will have
collar will be, according to you, a very simplistic way of looking at this problem. There could be a whole host of reasons. But Dr. Ravi Chellam, let me come to you. Dr. Ravi, do you feel, and I repeat this question that I asked of Ms. Ria Ramji, do you feel that pending investigation, we can at least change it? Because a significant amount of concern has been raised already. I mean, we see in the picture the formation of infestation of maggots right under the collar.
We are not part of the official system. We are basing our assessment and judgment based on bits and pieces of information that we are able to find.
Yeah.
There are strong opinions expressed by people closely involved with the project, including by Dr. Rajesh Gopal, who's heading the project steering committee. And it largely seems to be unanimous in wanting to capture and remove the collars, to the extent that they even want to keep these cats, which are free-ranging, the 10, 11 cats which are free-ranging, in captivity through the monsoon, wait for these wounds to heal, and then think about next steps. So my opinion, to some extent, is moot. It doesn't really matter because the decision-making seems to be heading in that direction. There is, of course, a fairly strange press release of the NTCA, which was released on Sunday, which attributed all deaths to natural causes. It's like saying patient is dead because his heart has stopped. But what caused the heart to stop is the question here. And clearly, the collar is causing some problem. How it is causing it, why is it causing it, is not for me to decide. I don't have the evidence to do it. It is unusual, highly unusual. These very same collars have been used in extremely humid habitats in Africa, haven't caused any problems. So I don't want to come to any judgment other than the fact that there is a problem and it needs to be addressed upfront.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Arjun Gopalaswamy, what is your view? I mean, at the risk of repeating myself, do you feel that pending investigation, at least a change should be brought about? And as Dr. Ravi Chellam said, investigate all the causes and just don't attribute them to natural causes. And also in a time-bound manner. You can't endlessly investigate.
Yeah, I think, I partly agree with my two colleagues here. But what's important to note is, we are talking about what we call the doctor's problem and what's the scientist's problem here. So the doctor's problem is to first sort the issue out, which is what you're referring to. And if the project proponents are saying that they are strongly suspecting radio collars, not radio collars per se, but actually the hypothesis being generated here is that the radio collars in the monsoon environment covers the neck in such a way that it keeps it moist throughout, and there are some skin infections being developed. And after the skin infections are developed, they have attracted flies, and then the maggots, and then it goes in, which turns into a bacterial infection, which eventually leads to a shock. That's the hypothesis. Now, we won't find an answer to that immediately. But as far as the doctor's problem is concerned, if the strong suspicion is this, obviously, and we want to save these animals, right, every single one of them, the decision to remove them is fine. Replacing, we are not sure. We are not sure of this. So removal as the first stage, it makes sense if I get. But I think when it comes to the scientific problem here, the larger question that needs to be asked in this particular issue, and I'm like the others here, not a vet either, but the question is, were all the endemic parasites first evaluated thoroughly before the reintroduction or the introduction experiment of African cheetahs took place? So that's where I would draw the line.
Okay. Kedar Gore is also now with us. Would you like to weigh in, sir? I mean, what would you like to say about, this? If you can hear me, Mr. Kedar Gore, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know from you, what is your opinion on a lot of concerns being raised on these radio tags?
Yes, I agree with the previous speakers that all the causes of the possibly deaths that has happened in the past, and that probably the expert team that is now set up can envisage in the future, must be investigated. If people think that radio collars has created this problem, which is unusual, however not impossible, because already in India there have been a few cases of tiger deaths attributed to radio collars being there. But why it is happening in cheetahs with so much frequency?
Would you like to elaborate a little? Sorry, Mr. Kedar Gore, I am cutting you short.
Yes.
But would you like to tell us a little about what one experimented and what one learnt in the Tiger project when there was maggot infestation under the radio collars? What did we learn and what happened?
Well, tigers have been radio collared for so many years, and even today there are so many tigers that are radio collared. There are lions that are radio collared. I mean, radio collaring is a very
normal exercise,
common and very important exercise as far as monitoring wildlife population is concerned. Now, this is a particular issue where we need to look at pinpointedly what is the problem actually, and why it is happening with the cheetahs that are there in Kuno right now. So, I'm not a vet, but we have to investigate from all angles. We can't just speculate and say, okay, collars are causing this problem, or a very broad statement saying that it is due to natural causes. Yeah, one thing I know for sure, because we are a team in as a part of Cheetah project stationed in Kuno, working in human wildlife interface. There has been no attempt to kill cheetahs by local people or by poachers or any of the sort. So, but the causes have to be investigated. This is a serious issue right now.
Okay, Mr. Ramji, I want to come back to you. You see, through the course of this discussion, many of the panelists here seem to suggest that one cannot have an extremely, while you said that you can't very simplistically blame it on a radio collar, investigate further. Likewise, we cannot be very simplistic in our explanation to say that all of them died due to natural causes. Would you agree that that is also too simplistic?
Of course, because when you're doing something like a relocation, really what is a natural cause? We are creating a system where we are doing something which in itself is very adventurous, it's very unique. right? We are bringing back an extinct animal back to a new environment after 75 years. The environment has changed. The animal's physiology has changed. And like I mentioned earlier, these are not the Asiatic cheetahs. These are African cheetahs. They are different. Their level of internal immunity is different. Radio collaring is not a problem. It is done across the board. And we are using the same technology in our country. It's not that we are not. So that, yes, you might say it's because of the humidity, there's chafing and, all of that. But that is a very simplistic solution. And all the deaths did not happen due to those wounds. Those wounds were not found in all of them. They were found in only the last two.
No, the fact that this cheetah is, Ms. Ramji, vulnerable, different, and we are, of course, we've transported the cheetah away from its original environment to a brand new environment. Don't you think that these were factors that would have been considered while this decision was being taken?
They would have definitely been considered, but there are certain things you only find out when you're on the ground. You can stay in a committee and you can keep staying with the paperwork and get nothing actually done. It's like that song says, there's 1,000 reasons to do nothing and you need only one reason to do something. Yeah. So for years, as everybody here knows probably, we waited as a government, as a country, for Iran to give us Asiatic cheetahs, which negotiation fell through at the end. And then the decision was made to try and bring in the African cheetah. That in itself was a huge leap of faith. What we are trying to achieve here is huge. So there are going to be risk factors. And I mean, it's all very well to say in 4 months there have been these deaths. But let's face the fact that the project hasn't even completed 1 year. There is a certain gestation period. There is certain trial and error, which will never happen when you're doing the theory side of the study. Certain aspects you will only find out when you are on the ground.
When it actually starts happening. I understand what you're saying. Okay, thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We're stopping for a short break at this moment. On the other side, we'll get you another reaction from a very senior and seasoned ex-IFS officer, Mr. R. Srinivasan Murthy, and we'll tell you what he believes could be the possible reason and what should be done.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates. IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
मैं अब उन्नत अग्रसर राजस्थान हूं, अपने हर नागरिक का अभिमान हूं, महिलाओं की सुरक्षा और बुजुर्गों का सम्मान हूं, मेहनतकश मजदूरों का बल और मौसम से जूझते किसान के लिए उम्मीद का वरदान हूं। मैं अब उन्नत अग्रसर राजस्थान हूं। मैं विपदाओं को देकर मात, थामे सबका हाथ, सफलता के नए शिखर चढ़ रहा हूं। मैं हर जन के लिए चिरंजीवी स्वास्थ्य और चहुमुखी शिक्षा की नई परिभाषा गढ़ रहा हूं। पुराने बंधनों को तोड़कर आगे बढ़ती किशोरियों और महिलाओं की उड़ान हूं। मैं अब उन्नत अग्रसर राजस्थान हूं। मैंने विरासत को सहेजा है तो नई सोच को भी ढाला है। कहीं रफ्तार है मेट्रो रेल की, कहीं धरती के गर्भ से तेल निकाला है। नई दुनिया की नई तकनीकों से कदम मिलाकर बढ़ता, उद्योग और व्यवसाय के अभूतपूर्व प्रोत्साहन और नए अवसर गढ़ता। नई इमारतें, फ्लाईओवर, पुल, नए नए से मुकाम, नए उद्योग, नए कारोबार, नए बाजार, बदलते वक्त की खुशहाली और विकास की दास्तान हूं। युवा सपनों के प्रशस्त पथ का विधान हूं। आज मैं देश के ललाट पर एक मॉडल स्टेट की दमकती पहचान हूं। हाँ, मैं अब उन्नत अग्रसर राजस्थान हूं।
Get the magic of the best working for you now.
Link your payment cards once, collect rewards forever.
Chhattisgarh government, a trustworthy government. Affordable medicines at Sri Dhanvantari Generic Medical Stores. The welfare-conscious Chhattisgarh government is committed to providing medicines at reasonable rates to the general public, thereby making the Sri Dhanvantari Generic Medical Store a lifeline for the poor. The network of Sri Dhanvantari Generic Medical Store scheme has expanded to 195 shops in 169 urban local bodies. Through these medical stores, 229 high-quality generic medicines and 28 types of surgical items are available at affordable prices. Compared to branded products, the prices of generic products available at Sri Dhanvantari Medical Stores are 50 to 70% lower.
Sri Dhanvantari Generic Medical Store से अमीर गरीब सभी को लाभ होगा। श्री धन्वंतरी जेनरिक मेडिकल स्टोर में कम से कम 50% और अधिकतम 71% तक छूट पर दवाइयों की बिक्री की जाएगी।
Through the Sri Dhanvantari Generic Medical Store scheme, more than 62 lakh people have saved over 108 crore rupees, realizing the commitment of the Bhupesh Baghel government towards justice for all, health for all. Chhattisgarh government, a trustworthy government.
मतलब we faced all these issues, but हम लोगों की observation का जो regime है that was quite tight. Literally 24/7 का मतलब 24/7 है. वो यदि वो collar synthetic है, immediately they need to be replaced. Initially it may be soft, but with the time उसकी polymerization हो जाता है तो tight हो जाता है. But in case it is a leather, then leather will start soaking the water and then start मतलब उसकी elasticity मतलब बढ़ जाती है.
Okay.
And it exactly doesn't harm that much.